Welcome to the Still Gender Podcast, Earthlings. This is the show where we will dive into taboo topics and the stuff we didn't learn in school. Here we will talk about actionable tips, tricks, and strategies for the out-of-the-box thinkers, dreamers, and weird folks who don't quite fit in with the cultural norms, who just want to live authentically too. No more feeling misunderstood or alone, because here we are all a little strange, and that is celebrated. I'm talking to you, Misfit, and I am your mother, Misfit, Laura Siljander. So let's start practicing compassion with ourselves and push that love and light out to others. Yeehaw! Let's go. Hey Earthlings, welcome back to the podcast with me, Laura Siljander. Stoked that you're taking time out of your day to better yourself and to dive in a little bit more on the human experience, the soul, just really casual stuff. The podcast is going to rebrand. New name, new color scheme, new font, new. And with newness can come uncertainty. You may think, am I still gonna like it? What's going on here? How is it going to change? And let me tell you something. It's all going to be about mental health and wellness and your well-being. However, I'm starting to pick up on a lot of patterns in my clients, in my students. When I focus on more, how can yoga better your life? How can it enrich this experience of being a human and being alive right now? Those podcasts are listened to a lot. I want to bring it in more because I spend most of my day thinking about yoga, teaching the yoga, lecturing about the yoga in my yoga pants. This is my life. I have made this practice my job, the way I walk around the world, the way I choose to interact with myself and people and the environment around me. Yoga is a huge part. And I also spend time wishing that my clients, my coaching clients, my therapy clients, whatever you want to call them, knew more about yoga philosophy rather than just yoga postures. Oh, yoga pants. Oh, yoga is the Warrior Series, or yoga is green juice, Lululemon, that kind of commercialization of yoga. That's what we think about yoga in the West. We think about some white girl with a six-pack and a matching yoga outfit on top of a mountain or on the beach somewhere holding this really cool pose. That's what we think yoga is in the West. And you know what? If that's your experience and that's what you love about yoga, that's great. But yoga comes from the East, obviously, and yoga is different over there. And I want to bring more of that here. Yoga isn't about getting ripped. Yoga isn't even about relaxation. It's not about stretching there. There is none of that in the East. It's about how can I live a better life? How can I live a more spiritually rich life? How can I get better at life? It's not about how far can I go in my splits. Can I hold a handstand? Can I hold this yin pose for 10 minutes? It's not about that. It's how can this improve my life? How can this improve my relationships with people I disagree with? Or how can I improve the relationship with myself? That's the yoga I want to bring to you. And that's the yoga I crave my clients to know. I see my clients' patterns. I see my students' patterns. I see their patterns of hurt and pain. And they come to me with their questions, expecting that I know the answer or at least can guide them to their answer. And what's amazing is the answer is already there. I can see it. It's right there inside of them. It's right there inside of you. However, we are too sad or anxious or frustrated to see it. Or maybe you and I and my clients simply don't have the space or the faith to get there. Therapy can give you the space to get there, but so can yoga. You see, yoga is different for everyone. Some may think about those more Western yoga things, the postures, the breathing, maybe even the meditation. Maybe it's just the yoga plants and the green juice and the kombucha you love to drink. That's cool. I'm fine with that. But the way I study this practice, the way I teach this practice is that yoga demands that you uncover thought processes and your spiritual beliefs. It allows you and me and my students to unveil limiting beliefs. It allows us to look at the dark and scary parts of our existence and shine light on it, to invite compassion into it, to be more understanding. Yoga doesn't change who you are, but it unveils and it reconnects you to the goodness that is inside of you that has been there all along. Have you ever looked at a baby a baby was just born, you look into their eyes and you can feel their pureness and their goodness. That doesn't just go away. That doesn't just disappear with adulthood or when you learn about horrible things that kind of taint that purity. That doesn't just go away. We're born with this pureness, but when life becomes challenging, when we get hurt, when we get betrayed, when we are let down, there are walls that are built and we put on armor to protect our hearts. I don't say that this is wrong by any means. It is necessary for survival for some of us. We have to know where the threats lie. We gotta know. But this can harden us in a way that we may not realize. This may affect our ability to receive love. It may even affect our ability to give love. Yoga doesn't ask for you to break down the walls, but it does ask you to acknowledge why the walls were built there all along. And when is it safe to let them down? And when I talk about these walls, I mean like spiritual walls. Were you rejected by a church? Or was there some kind of doctrine that was shoved down your throat that you didn't agree with that you had to live by? These could be emotional walls. Your parents weren't there for you. They were neglectful. They had substance use issues. Or maybe you were abused in some sort of way. Or maybe your boyfriend in high school cheated on you and you felt that betrayal, that punch in the gut. Those experiences shape the way we view our lives right now. All of these past experiences from childhood to today, this morning, or right now, it's shaping the way you view your life. It's shaping the way you view yourself. It's shaping the way you view the person outside or the tree outside. It's shaping exactly how you view your life. And yoga asks you to look at that. It's about your mind. It's about emotional regulation. It's about inviting that compassion into the dark spots that we all have. We all have them. It's about how do I exist with someone when I'm in conflict with them in a peaceful manner instead of just being like, screw you and screw it all. We've been there before, most of us have. I know some of you are thinking this isn't the yoga I know. I know the postures, I know the breathing, I know the stress relief, but this is how I teach yoga. This is how I teach my students, and this is how I want to teach you. This yoga, this part of yoga is what changes lives. It's changed mine. It's changed my clients. It has changed my students. And I see it day after day because it's my job. It's what I do in yoga pants. That's the yoga I want to bring to you. Yes, we can talk about anatomy and postures and stuff like that, but I want to know how yoga is going to make your days easier. How is yoga going to make that person who you don't like, how you can coexist together? Maybe it's a working relationship. Maybe it's a roommate that you have temporarily. How do you navigate that? How do you navigate betrayal? When you start to practice this type of yoga, it invites you to have some clarity in these harder experiences because you know yourself, you know your patterns, you know your walls, you know your buttons, and you don't lash out irrationally because yoga asks you to constantly take notice of what's going on in your body, what's going on in your mind, what's going on in these levels of consciousness that we're in all day long. That's the yoga I want to bring to you. And that's where I want this podcast to go. Yes, it's going to be about sadness, depression, anxiety, food, well-being. How are you doing today? But I'm going to wrap in a lot more yoga because this has been the key to a lot of my students' success. And this is what I'm starting to warp my world around. Yes, I still teach the postures and the breath techniques and the meditations, and that's all part of it. But this bigger part of how it can make us better off the mat is something that I think we lack in the West. We love the workout, but as soon as I say this isn't going to be a workout, this is going to be a work in. Let's explore our minds. If you think about it, in reality, our mind seems to be controlling us. Why can't it be the other way around? I know it sounds like a really big goal to have. It's lofty. And I want to bring yoga philosophy into that. I want to bring these ancient texts, these ancient threads. I want to bring them into the modern day. I want us to walk around being modern yogis. I want us to walk around with this level of consciousness that you know yourself and you know why you're reacting a certain way. And you know when those walls are starting to creep up higher and when to take walls down for the right person or the right situation or the right spiritual belief. Again, I know we've all gone through such dark things, hard things. Yoga asks us to look at it. Yoga asks us to figure it out, to not run, to not numb, to not distract, but to sit and it's hard, but it's worth it. And if you have the earnestness to practice this, then I do believe that instead of letting our minds run the show, that we can run the show through this lens of clarity. The new podcast name is going to be called The Modern Yogi, and it's going to be all about how we can live this lifestyle beyond the yoga pants, beyond the Lululemon, beyond all that. But how can I walk around and actually love my neighbor who I don't like? How can I feel a sense of connection with someone I don't understand? How can we heal? That's what it's about. How can we get back to that place of goodness that we were born with? Because we were. It's still there. It's just a little bit quieter because we've built up walls. So join me for this new season of the podcast, The Modern Yogi. I'm not going to ask you to go meditate and chant in a loincloth in a cave somewhere for 10 years. I'm also not going to tell you to go get a matching tights and crop top and yoga mat and go practice in a hot room 18 times a week. I want to bring stuff into the current day. I want to make it relevant. I want to see radical shifts in your well-being. I want you to actually learn how to love yourself. I want you to learn how to look at your limiting beliefs, and I'm going to be with you. I'm going to be walking right next to you. So buckle up, modern yogis. We're going to walk through this world as kind of weird, kind of spiritual, kind of misfitty. Maybe we'll be enlightened. We'll talk about that. Why not? I don't know anyone enlightened yet, but that could change. But let's talk about this stuff. Let's talk about the hard stuff, the good stuff, and let's bring compassion to that. Tune in, stay here, work through the hard stuff, watch the transformation begin, but know that that compassion starts with you and your mind first, and then you can send that compassion out to other people, other beings, and your environment.